What is up, guys and girls, and welcome to another episode of this Payday Eyeball, or TPIB for short. Today we have a very Spider-Man heavy episode due to the awesome news that broke this week that Disney and Sony have made up and come to an agreement to allow Spider-Man to grace the MCU at least one more time. First up though, we have a Pop Avenger. Pop Avengers. Yeah? So my mission to watch the cinematic Marvel universe in chronological order has been a successful one. Now I've watched them all, from Captain America, the first Avenger, to the sad conclusion of Endgame. I have to say I was definitely not disappointed. So to celebrate, I purchased the Thanos Pop Figure. Now I know there's still loads more in between because I've only got the Captain America and the Captain Marvel, so they're the first two movies, and then I've gone straight to Thanos. But I thought this was the most fitting way to celebrate the MCU phase success and watching them all in chronological order. So I bought this, plus it only cost me £8 from Asda. It was on sale, and that's the cheapest I've seen a pop figure. So I thought, why not? Figure 453 shows big bad Thanos in his war ready armor. So yeah, it was a cheap one, so I thought, why not? And I just finished the MCU Phase 3, is it? And I thought, why not? We'll celebrate with Thanos. And a fun fact from Thanos is his name is a modification that is taken from the Greek word Thanatos, which actually means death, which makes a bit of sense, doesn't it? Because he does kind of do away with half of the world's or the universe's population, not just the world. So yeah, moving on. And next up we have a big book. We have the X-Men Ultimate Guide. Now, this is an absolutely huge. I didn't know it was this big, to be fair, when I ordered it. I actually had to go and pick it up from the post office because it wouldn't obviously fit through my letterbox. So I'm not even sure if it'll fit on the shelf, which is what I want to get all this stuff for, so I've got a bit of a background. But yeah, it was secondhand, but it's really good, and it fits into my whole trying to learn more about the Marvel and DC and superhero universes. So I thought, it's nearly as big as me. So I thought, yeah, I'll pick this up. I have got another one, but that will be on the next show. So yeah, I watched X-Men as a kid. I absolutely adored X-Men. It was a staple to my Saturday mornings and after school afternoons, along with Power Rangers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I'm very happy to pick this up, and it'd be quite interesting. It's got all the different X-Men, and I can't even hold it up properly, and all the information in there as well. So that's another interesting buy. So yeah, I'm very happy about that. Fun fact about that was they were originally going to be called the Merry X-Men, or the Merry Mutants, not the X-Men. The Merry Mutants, and Wolverine, who obviously is arguably one of the most important and famous X-Men, didn't actually exist until 10 years after the X-Men were created. So that's quite interesting. Next up, going back to the good old days of cartoons, we have M.A.S.K, the complete collection. The classic 80s series is back. While investigating the mysterious death of his brother, Matt Tracker uncovers an international organisation known as Venom. Dedicated to the nefarious criminal activities in every corner of the world, driven by his quest to know the truth about his brother's demise, Matt gathers together a number of friends who, like himself, are ordinary people who possess extraordinary talents. They create M.A.S.K. Their objective is to destroy Venom and its mastermind, the abominable Miles Mayhem. So yeah, this was something I remember watching a lot as a kid. Similar to Thundercats, I don't remember too much about it or the characters, but I remember really enjoying it. So I thought I'd pick it up. it was only $13.99, and it is the complete collection. 8 DVDs, 25 hours, over 25 hours, if you believe that. Over 25 hours for $8.99 at $13.99. You can't really complain about that, can you? So it's an absolute bargain, in my my honest opinion. Fun fact: M.A.S.K were the good guys, whose name was an acronym, and it stands for Mobile Armored Strike Command. I know command spelled with a C, isn't it? But apparently they spell it with a K, and that's everything's cool. No one argues. No one, we just go with it. And they fought against the bad guys called Venom, whose awesome name is also an acronym, standing for Very Evil Network of Mayhem. Sounds a bit tacky, if you ask me, but anywho, yeah. So next up, we've got a classic series that cost me the grand total of £5.63, and that is SuperTed, the complete series, season 1 to 3. Right, SuperTed was one of them big cartoons. I remember being massive. I think my mum used to watch it, or she used to put it on for me. It came out in 1983, which was actually the year I was born. I think they're only short episodes. I think they're very, very short episodes, because there's 3 series here, and it's only 288 minutes approximate thingy. So, yeah. As with most of the other 70s and 80s series I'm going to be picking up, I don't really remember too much about it, but I will bask in the glory days of cartoons watching these. And a quick fun fact about SuperTed was that it was the very first British cartoon to ever feature on the Disney Channel, which is quite interesting. I can't remember I think his best mate was called Spotty, but I don't really remember too much about it. But yeah, that's another absolute classic. Next up, we have The Amazing Spider-Man 1, where Andrew Garfield dons the famous red and blue suit. I haven't seen these ones yet, at all, actually. I don't know why I haven't seen them, but I haven't seen these ones, and I will be looking at them. I've heard they weren't very good, but now I've got them. Yeah, I can watch them and make my own decision. This movie looks like it's putting Spidey up against the Lizard, so that'll be quite interesting. I've not really seen much of the Lizard. No doubt it's an experiment gone wrong. I'm sure all you absolute Spider-Man fans will know more about it, but yeah, I picked this up for £1 in my local Poundland, so I thought, why not? I'm happy to pay that. I'm going through all the superhero films and cartoons and stuff, so I might as well pick it up. And for £1, you can't complain. The first words spoken in this movie are a young Peter Parker counting backwards, apparently, from 4. So 4, 3, 2, 1, and he's playing hide and seek. This is thought to be a wink to the fact that the movie has taken the audience back to the beginning of the Spider-Man story. So that's quite interesting. I can't wait to watch that. Which brings us to the next one, which is also my very first Blu-ray purchase, and only £2 from the same pound shop. It wasn't everything's a pound, because otherwise it would be £1, but it's £2. And to be fair, to buy a Blu-ray for £2 is pretty cool. So they didn't have it on DVD, otherwise I would have picked it up on DVD, just because I don't have any Blu-rays. But they've got it on this, so I thought I'd pick this up. And in this instalment, Andrew Garfield is fighting Electro. I've literally never heard of Electro. Apparently he's played by Jamie Foxx. So this will be a bit of an education for me, not knowing who Electro is. I've heard a little bit about the Lizard. I know a little bit about his background. Obviously, he used to be in the cartoons. I've not heard of Electro at all, so that will be quite interesting. But for the first Blu-ray I've ever bought, £2, I can say I'm a very, very happy customer. Fun fact of this film, early on in the film, Max Dillon, whoever Max Dillon is, has a birthday cake in the fridge, which is white with green icing, and it has little yellow thunderbolts on it. Apparently, this is in homage to the original Electro character in the comics. So I'm guessing he wears green and has thunderbolts on him. So the next ones I'm going to do in a 3, because again, you know, Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. Now this is the Tobey Maguire set, which I think I've seen the first one. I know I've seen the first one, maybe number 2, but this is probably the most popular Spider-Man. Well, until Tom Holland, obviously. I'm sure they don't need any introduction either, because they are quite popular. Like I said, I think I've seen the first one. Not too sure if I've seen the second one. I definitely haven't seen the third one. So I will be revisiting them soon. Tobey's Spider-Man faces up against some of the biggest spider villains in these movies, with the Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, the Sandman, I think, and it looks a bit like Venom's in one of them as well. So that's quite interesting. That could be quite interesting. Fun fact about these movies that I'm going to do as a whole. The first one of these films was the first Marvel movie to feature the flipping, you know, the pages in the Marvel logo flipping, and also Wolverine was supposed to make a brief cameo in the first installment. He even showed up to the set in New York. But the whole idea was scrapped when they couldn't get hold of the Wolverine costume from the X-Men movies. So yeah, there's that. And moving on from that, again, I picked up these. Spider-Man 1, 2 and 3. I'm guessing they follow on from the film. I'm guessing. Oh yeah, I only paid £1 for them, the movies, I forgot to say. I paid £1 for all 3 of them, so that's pretty cool. You know, who's not going to spend £1 on three Spider-Man movies from my local charity shop? So these games all came up to £9.79. I picked them up from Amazon, which I think is an absolute steal. Not only because they're Spider-Man, but also because I am collecting PlayStation 2 games, and you know, hopefully we'll be playing them very soon. I've never played a Spider-Man game, which should be quite interesting. But yeah, I've got these. So yeah, for that price, £9.79 for three PlayStation 2 games, I'm not going to complain. I don't even care if they're not very good. They seem to be following the movies. You got Dr. Octopus, the Green Goblin, Venom. I don't know if the Sandman, yeah, the Venom and the Sandman, yeah, and the new Goblin as well, apparently. Wield the power of the black suited Spider-Man in number 3. So that would be pretty cool. The final Spider-Man item for this episode is the Ultimate Spider-Man PlayStation 2 game, which I picked up for just over £5. I thought, well, I'm going mad on Spidey, I might as well pick up, you know, this extra game. It features Venom apparently, so it should be pretty good. Yeah, just an add-on. All these games are come full with manuals and all that, so they're pretty cool, pretty good. And finally, for today's episode, we have the Resident Evil 4 Steelbook Edition. £4 this cost me. This was recommended to me by numerous people, including the boys from Grief Burrito podcast. Go and watch them. Their show is always talking about, you know, all sorts of pop culture stuff. It's really, really cool. Gaming news and all that sort of stuff. Movie news even. So go and give that a listen. Another podcast host, Yemi the Ferret, also said to me, Resident Evil 4 is the way to go. So go and give him a watch as well, or a listen. He's on YouTube and he does a podcast. And finally, Retro Wolf 88, who's a YouTuber, he's got an insane GameCube collection that no one should miss. Go and check his out. I think he's about 14 away from collecting every single title ever released on the GameCube. And not just that, he's got a whole room full of games from all sorts of stuff. Consoles. Don't know why I'm saying stuff. And he also does entertaining games where he plays games with his mum and stuff like that. He's a really, really great guy. So go and check him out. All the links to them guys will be in the description. So yeah, easy access. So yeah, the weird thing about Resident Evil 4 is I've always been a big Resident Evil fan. I played 1, 2 and 3, massive fans of 1, 2 and 3. And I played 5, 6 and 7 as well, which I loved. I think it was it 5 wasn't as good. I didn't, the whole Africa thing I didn't really like too much. But 4 I skipped because it wasn't originally on any consoles I had, because it was originally a Nintendo exclusive, so I never really had chance to play it. I know now it's been out for a while, but there's no point in playing 4 when I haven't got, I didn't have a PlayStation 2 when it came out on PlayStation 2, so it just never, the timing never just fell right. So I saw this in my local charity, or one of my local charity shops, full with manual. I think it's got a, what's that there? Is it an official limited edition mini guide with it as well? But still book Resident Evil 4 for £4. I thought, I'm on it. I'm taking it. I'll have it. So I picked it up. But yeah, so I'm finally going to get to play it. So yeah, that's all from what I've got today. The fun fact I've got about Resident Evil 4 though is actually one of my fun facts of all time, because it started out as Devil May Cry started out as Resident Evil 4. That was supposed to be Resident Evil 4, but the producer Mikami felt it strayed too far away from the series' survival horror roots. So they gradually convinced the Capcom to make it an independent game, and the story was eventually rewritten to be set in a world full of demons, and the hero's name was obviously changed from Leon to Dante. But you can actually see Leon in Dante if you look, and you obviously. So if you didn't know that, you probably already knew that. But if you didn't know that, go and look back at Leon and Dante and see the similarities, if you like. So that's it for today's edition of this Payday I bought. I do know this is late. Normally it's the last day of the month that I post this, but this month has been so hectic. So I do know this is late, and I do apologise. There will be another episode out at the end of this month, not the beginning of next month. So hopefully you'll join me for that one as well. If you've enjoyed this episode, guys, hit that like button. If you're new around here, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any new uploads. And if you want to hit me up in the comments about anything I've mentioned today, feel free to do so. I will always try and message back. And we can have a little chat about them. That's the whole point in what I'm doing here. I'm opening up myself to all this classic stuff that I never had the first time round, or I loved it and I've forgotten about. That's the whole point in this series, and it's been great being able to share it with you guys. So feel free to message me about your own experiences with some of the stuff. So yeah, thanks for coming, guys. Peace out.